Hello there friends! The playoffs have started officially. For almost a month we watched the teams fight for their places in the group. There were sure a lot of sensations, highlights, victories, and defeats. Now it's time to decide who will be the best at the ESL Pro League Season 16. Meanwhile, there seems to have been a real physical fight in Astralis. It sounds like a tabloid headline, I agree. So let's figure it all out together. So we'll probably start with the drama around the Russian teams and their participation in the next RMR. As you remember, the teams who had obvious problems were OneWin, K23, and of course Onkir's composition. So some of the problems were solved. According to Lollipop, OneWin is still going to the tournament because all team members have obtained visas. Now the only thing that's left is to find a way to get to Malta, and that is indeed yet another challenge. But Onkir and Smooya's team certainly has its bad at the moment. Onkir himself stated that he was definitely missing this RMR. He hasn't gotten the chance to finally get a visa, and the team was left to go on without him. But that's only a part of the trouble. If Calix is not given a visa, then the team will simply be suspended. According to the rules of the ESL, only one replacement is allowed. In case if there's two, the composition is removed from the tour and the team that took the next place in the qualifiers is invited instead of them. So there is a huge chance that benched heroes will miss the RMR. This is what Smooya had to say about it.
We have an update. The guy who for some reason wasn't crying on stream and really sad, stuff like this. Like, he seemed a little bit too happy. He announced that he's not going to RMR, then instantly pulled his mouse pad out and instantly pulled his gaming sleeve out and said, "Hey guys, buy my gaming sleeve, everything's fine." Had some information. All Russian players have been accepted for their visas. Glowin doesn't have to go to the army anymore. He's also crossed. They're all flying to Malta. They've all been accepted. And we found out that Onkir's, you guys are typing Pog, Onkir got declined because he applied for a visa to help himself. He applied for a European visa both times.
That's the way things are at the moment. So the guys have a solid chance of missing the RMR, and now they managed to have time to quarrel with each other. In the meantime, we are moving on to the next thing. There have been substitutions in some teams. For example, Entropic is now playing with the new stand-in, Anarkez. He is from Israel, but understands Russian well. Furthermore, the changes have occurred in Apex. Remember they recently assembled the veteran Dream Team? They took shocks and were going to conquer the pro scene, but something went wrong apparently. As a result, instead of winning, they have got a disband. Well, not a straight up disband, but the organization decided to just withdraw from all the tournaments and think about what to do next. It is also not clear when they will return. It's looking more and more like the end of a career for Shocks. But that's not the worst part. The biggest rumors are spreading around Astralis. As you remember, recently the unluckiest pro player of CS went inactive again due to the injury. Config broke his ankle. Astralis will play at the RMR with a replacement, but apparently that's not all. As the Jackson portal reports, they now want to remove Config from the team for good. Most likely because of the injury that he may have received in a fight, by the way. They mentioned that he had a real physical fight with someone. With whom and why is not specified. But logically speaking, who could break Config's ankle? The only option is Blame F, especially since they shamefully fell out of the EPL group. Well, it's just my opinion, guys, but I think everything is kind of obvious here. Well, is the return of Device about to happen, guys? Nah, I'm just playing with you guys. It's a joke. Config himself denies all of this. He said that it was complete nonsense. This portal tried to get some comments on this from him, but in the end, they came up with everything they wrote about themselves. He is recovering and plans to return to CS soon. Well, maybe none of this is true, but if we see Glaive with a black eye at the next tournament, then I think everything is obvious here. And finally, some news about Carlos. As Deserto writes, it turns out that Riot requested Carlos to resign from G2. They blacklisted Ocelot and essentially forced him to sell shares of the organization. Well, that's some kind of strong influence, isn't it? I will make a separate video about the playoffs, but in the meantime, you can look at the results of the last matches. Later, we will discuss the latest news related to this. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel to stay tuned. Alright guys, bye bye!